Hey there, Bruce, and welcome back to Remember 11. So, we got Hattori being scary and murdering a mouse that was already dying, and let's just carry on from there, shall we? Hopefully we survive the episode. Kagame, Kagame, the bird within the cage. When will you come out? In the evening, lit by the dawn, the crane and the turtle slipped and fell. Who's that behind you? Spooky. Glad we're not there anymore. Why did Hattori suddenly begin to sing the Kagame song? Was it supposed to be some kind of requiem? I just couldn't understand her actions at all. So, even after the transfer, the echo of her voice still resounded in my mind. I couldn't get it out of my head. The gruesome scene that unfolded before my eyes. I'm at the shelter cabin now. I know that, but Hattori's cruel expression was still scorched into my mind. Even now, it rises like a phantom before me. Somehow, holding it together, I sat down on a nearby log chair. The imagery of the shelter cabin, I could hardly take in what was going on around me. Yomogi and Lin stood frozen in place in the middle of the room. Yuni was crouching beside the stove. The air in the room was growing heavy. It was as though some ominous entity was filling the room with its stagnating presence. What's wrong? I asked, but nobody so much as tried to answer. Still wearing a grave expression, Yomogi slowly turned to face me. Yukido-kun? Yeah. Did something happen? No, nothing. Don't worry about it. That means yes, something, but I'm not going to tell you. And with that, none of them spoke so much as another word before bed. It seemed that the blizzard outside had also ceased at some point. With that silence, night had fallen. Wrapping myself in the blankets on the bed, I took off the wristwatch. As always. Day 3, goddamn, that took ages. But maybe it's because I'm rereading some stuff. Just felt like it took a lot longer than the first time. It had been a while since I'd seen a blue sky. Just like the people of old who worshipped the sun as a god, I truly felt like thanking it from the depths of my heart for this downpour of sunlight. Yesterday I'd spent the entire day without taking a single step outside. Perhaps that's why the air was so delicious to me now. I breathed in a lungful of fresh air. The coldness of it permeated my entire body. The inner parts of my nasal cavities began to sting, but it was refreshing and it felt good. The last night of a year ago, that is, I'd gone to bed in the shelter cabin on Mount Akakura. When I woke up, I returned to SPHIA. That's why I didn't know exactly when the snowy clouds had been stripped away from the sky above Aosagi Island. Regardless, the snowstorm that had lasted for 2 days had now completely disappeared. The time is around 9 AM. I'm walking in the large garden south of the main building. I say walking, but even taking so much as a single step was no easy task. The fresh snowfall was deep enough to bury my feet. The surface of the snow was frozen over like the glaze on a pastry. My feet punched holes in the icy upper layer and made rustling sounds as they tamped down the powder underneath. The resistance from the snow put extra strain on my lower body, but even so, walking itself wasn't that hard. What was hard was resisting the urge to jump and frolic about in the refreshing wind. A landscape of untrodden virgin snow spread out before me. The urge to disturb the untouched land was tickling my primitive instincts. It felt a little childish, but I was hopping around like an innocent puppy as I cut through the field of white. I ran out of breath and leaned against a nearby wall. The massive circular wall that enclosed SPHIA. I'd known the walls were here, of course, but looking up at it like this again, it really did feel huge as it loomed high over me. A height not even a world record pole vaulter could clear. It was clear to me that trying to jump over it was futile, so I tried climbing up the side of it instead. But it was an unforgiving wall, devoid of hand or footholds and impossible to climb. I think that's the point. It's to keep the dangerous people inside. Just for the heck of it, I tried kicking it with all my might, and it all fell over, just like that. There was the muffled sound of my foot striking the concrete, but that was all. Of course, there wasn't so much as the slightest tremor in the wall. As if declaring itself the very symbol of immobility and steadfastness, the massive wall stood with silent dignity before me. I headed back the way I came. SPHIA's main building was in the distance. The snow covering it shone a bright white. Looking at it from the outside, it looked like a castle made of ice from some old myth or fairy tale. The central clock tower soared high into the sky, like a tower holding a captured princess. While walking under the blue sky, I thought about how SPHIA might look from above. First of all, it's round. At the centre of the circle was the clock tower, with a radius of about 100 metres from the concrete wall that encircled it. The entire area enclosed by the circle was SPHIA in its truest sense. SPHIA wasn't just a building standing in the middle. Well then, if we're a radius of 100 meters, though this is an estimate, then the overall circumference of the wall would be about 628 meters, huh? Which meant that the area of the entire site was around 3.14 hectares, I guess. Even with grade school arithmetic like this, I was able to understand the approximate scale of SPHIA. 3.14 hectares, if you convert it, that'd be about 7.76 acres. It's quite a lot of land. This value corresponded to around 2/3 of the space enclosed by the Paradise Park Dome. Well, it wasn't like everything would be solved if I just figured out the number. This was something of a bad habit of mine. How stupid. I should stop using my head for something this pointless. I shook my head, surprised at myself. There's no point in finding out what the numbers are. I don't feel like they'd be important later on or anything. I stopped, looking up at the sky, and let the abundant sunlight wash over me. This refreshing feeling couldn't be put into numbers. I went back to find that the other three had already finished breakfast. While I'd been walking outside, it sadly appeared that I'd missed the meal. Well, missing just one meal shouldn't be too much of a problem. I didn't feel all that hungry. So anyway, with the weather this nice, I think we should all go outside and get some exercise. Any objections? Uni suddenly proposed this plan to the rest of us when we gathered in the living area. Exercise? You mean you want to do those radio aerobics? No, I mean we should go out and play together. Play? Yeah, that's right, play. Breathing in the fresh air, bathing in the sunlight, playing in the snow. That's better than staying locked up in these stuffy rooms all the time, right? It's not good for your mind or your body, you know. Uni, are you serious about this? Yes, of course. Neither Hattori nor Utsumi were making any attempt to hide their uncertainty. Even I wasn't without my doubts. Yesterday I was almost killed during the power outage. I didn't know whether the culprit was in this room right now or whether they were hiding somewhere unknown to me. But whichever it was, it didn't change the fact that I wasn't in the mood to play. Or is it a bad idea after all? Uni's face fell as he looked at us anxiously. Although it should have been easy to turn him down, seeing that lonely expression on his face had weakened my will to object, while hesitating over how to answer. It sounds interesting enough, so why don't we? Hattori raised her head and declared her approval. Yes, everyone needs a change of atmosphere once in a while. Unexpectedly, Utsumi agreed as well. How about you, Satoru? Are you going to lock yourself in your room and play by yourself? Hattori laughed teasingly as she provoked me, causing me to answer without thinking. Fine by me. I just have to come along, right? Alright, then it's decided. Uni gave me a thumbs up. Certainly, it'd be better for me if we were all gathered together rather than separate. And besides, the visibility outside was good. Even if there was a suspicious person out there, they wouldn't have anywhere to hide. I didn't have any particular regrets about agreeing. So, what was it you wanted to play, Unicorn? Let's see. Actually, I hadn't come up with anything specific in advance. Hey, Satoru, do you have any ideas? Ideas, huh? I thought to myself, in this situation, the most ideal activity would be... definitely basketball. Because I'm the tallest, I think. How about basketball? Isn't there a court to the east of the building? There isn't really anything I can think of that's stopping us from using it. Now there's a good idea. Basketball's my specialty after all. Well, I'm not really good at it though. Do you want to do something else then? No, it's okay. If everyone else wants to do it, then it's fine. How about you, Utsumi-san? Well, I don't mind doing that, but I wonder if we even have a ball here. Even if we do have a court, without a ball, then it isn't worth mentioning, right? Well, that's certainly true. It's fine, don't worry about it. I think there was a ball down in the storeroom. In BA? With that decided, the four of us split into two teams for our basketball game. After trying to balance everyone's strengths equally, the results were Uni and I, the boys' team, will be facing Hattori and Utsumi, the girls' team. However, we couldn't play by standard rules, mostly due to the court being hidden under a thick layer of snow. Hey, what are we going to do, Satoru? We can't play basketball like this. Hattori dropped the ball she'd found in the basement. Without a single bounce, the ball dropped and sank into the snow. Let's just play netball then. But it's not like we can't use the hoops, right? Saying that, I dug the ball out of the snow. What do you mean? What I mean is this. Holding the ball aloft, I tossed it into the blue sky. The brown orb drew a beautiful parabola and sank into the net. With that swish, I so loved to hear, the net sprang up and down as though dancing. A free throw tournament. I went over the rules with the others. Well, though I called them rules, there was nothing too complicated. 1. The A-B team and the C-D team will alternate in shooting free throws. The order will be A, C, B, D. This will count as one turn. The person who's up can choose to either shoot from the free throw line or shoot from outside the 3-point line. If the ball goes in, their team will receive 2 points for a shot from the free throw line or 3 points from a shot from the 3-point line. Hereinafter, the free throw line will be referred to as the 2PL and the 3-point line as the 3PL. This will continue for 9 turns, and then the team with the most points at the end will win. So that's how we'll do it. Did everyone get that? All 3 of them nodded. The result of a quick round of rock, paper, scissors puts the Hattori Utsumi team up first, with the Satoru Uni team second. Alright, let's get this started. Starting the match without a whistle didn't feel quite right. Utsumi was the first to shoot. She decided to play it safe with the 2-point line, and with a meek look on her face, she headed out onto the court. We'd already removed the snow around the 2PL and the 3PL. Within the white field over the court, we'd opened up just enough space to comfortably shoot from, and inside the area we dug out around the 2PL stood Utsumi. Number 1, Utsumi Kali, here I go. With that spirited declaration, she raised her right hand high. Maybe it was because she was nervous, but it sounded like her voice was cracking. Hey wait, Utsumi-san, the ball! The ball! Huh? The ball? Murmuring to herself, she began looking restlessly back and forth near her feet, even though the ball hadn't rolled anywhere near there. Here, it's over here. Saying that, I gently tossed the ball to her. After performing what looked like a flustered pantomime of the robot dance, Utsumi fell on her rear in the snow. The ball fell right next to her with a plop. I'm sorry. Still flustered, she got to her feet and picked up the ball. Does she just have no athletic ability? Probably. Number 1, Utsumi Kali, here I go. We get it already, so hurry up and throw. Alright, here I go. Utsumi gripped the ball in both hands. Then she crouched down, widened her stance, lowered the ball between her bowed legs, and then gave it a great clumsy toss, and let me guess, she gets it straight in. The ball flew high in the air, hit the wire mesh of the fence, and dropped down onto the snow. Aw, so close. The 3 of us were speechless. Score 0-0. I entrusted our team's first shot to Uni. Picking up the ball, he made for the 2PL. Go for it. I cheered for Uni as he headed to the court. Leave it to me, he answered without turning away from the goal, and then he reached the designated area and assumed his stance. In the direction of the wind is... He scooped up some snow and then released it. The powdery snow floated smoothly out of his hand. A northwest wind, about 2 meters I guess. Uni drew the ball to his chest. He was also using both hands, but unlike Utsumi, he wasn't going to shoot from between his legs. Alright then, here I go. 1, 2... Ah! The ball struck the backboard, then rebounded into the snow. Score 0-0. Huh, that's strange. There wasn't as much wind resistance as I thought. Uni returned, shaking his head. No worries, no worries. We've only just started, so don't worry about it. At that moment, Hattori suddenly spoke up. Hey Satoru, I've been thinking. It'd be boring to just have an ordinary match, so do you want to bet something on it? A bet? What kind of bet? Let's see. Hattori crossed her arms and turned her glance to the ground. She walked about, tracing a tight circle in the snow. Eventually, she stopped and looked at me before speaking. Actually, there's a favor I wanted to ask you, Satoru. If our team wins, will you do it for me? What's the favor? I won't say right now, but it's nothing big. Alright? It's okay, right? She pestered me with a childlike smile on her face. The freezing temperature outside had coloured her cheeks bright red. As I looked at that smiling face, I thought to myself, the one who killed the rat yesterday couldn't have been the Hattori personality after all. Of course, this personality couldn't have anything to do with the Awazumbi incident either. The one who done all those things had to be another personality, not Hattori. If not, then she'd never be able to smile so innocently. But it didn't feel like she remembered anything about the brutal killing of the rat. That was probably because the Hattori personality didn't have a direct hand in it. That's what I thought. I believed in it. Okay, got it. If our team loses, I'll listen to your request. But what if our team wins? That's for you to decide, Satoru. I see. Well then, after thinking it over for a short while, I answered, okay then, you'll have to answer my question. Question? Yeah, there's something I have to ask you no matter what. Oh, is that all? Yep. Okay. Well then, if our team loses, I'll answer anything you want. Alright, then that completes the negotiations. Oh, but let me remind you, just in case. This is a team versus team battle, okay? Not an individual competition. The bet is just something you and I decided to do on the side, so victory will be decided by the final score of both teams. Is that what you mean? Yep. Well, I don't mind that. Rather, I think that it's your team at an overwhelming disadvantage. Are you sure you're fine with that? Hattori gave a slight smile, then without another word walked over to stand before the net. I watched her go. Hattori picked up the ball. She chose the 3PL. She stood at the spot and then entered a shooting stance. She raised the ball to the level of her forehead and delicately bent her right wrist. Her left hand was only used for support, the unconscious posture of an experienced sportswoman. Do your best, Hattori-chan. Itsumi let out a high-pitched cheer. Breathing in, Hattori stood stock still. Her lips met in a straight line, and then she released the ball. It danced in the air, drawing a beautiful arch, and once it descended to the summit of the blue sky overhead, it began its downward slope. Oh, it went in, I heard Yuni grumble, and as he did, the ball was swallowed into the hoop. Score 3-0. I was up next. Without a moment's hesitation, I chose the 3PL. Yuni ran over with the ball and passed it to me, but the moment I took it in my hands, a sharp pain ran up my left arm. I'd completely forgotten that I was injured. Holding the ball, I gently rubbed the wound as I stood before the 3PL. The cleared out space is small, but I managed to dribble the ball a few times. I shifted into a shooting stance. I took aim. I breathed deeply, in and out. Satoru, it's okay. I'm right here with you. It'll go in for sure. Believe in yourself. Don't be nervous. Relax. Don't let your shoulders tense up. Hey, the direction of the wind is from the northwest to the southeast. Yuni? Please be quiet. Once again, I concentrated, confirming the position of both my feet. I took a firm step onto the court. I held the ball overhead and supported it with my left hand. My fingertips trembled a little from the pain. Somehow enduring it, I narrowed my aim. Holding my breath, I concentrated all my nerves into my right arm and I released the ball. With the spin I'd put on it, it rebounded off the backboard, just as planned. The shot sank, as though drawn in by the net, sending it swaying. Yeah, it went in! Nice shot, Yukido-senpai. That's amazing, Yukido-kun. Hattori alone stared at me without saying anything, while chewing regretfully on her thumbnail. Score 3-3. After that, the game went on like that, and we alternated between offense and defense, now gaining, now falling behind. The second round, Itsumi 0, Yuni 0, Hattori 2, me 0. Score 5-3. Third round, Itsumi 0, Yuni 2, Hattori 2, me 3. Score 7-8. The fourth round, Itsumi 0, Yuni 0, Hattori 3, me 0. Score 10-8. The fifth round, Itsumi 0, Yuni 2, Hattori 0, me 2. 10-12. The sixth round, Itsumi 0, Yuni 0, Hattori 3, me 2. Score 13-14. The seventh round, Itsumi 0, Yuni 2, Hattori 3, me 2. 16-18. Just like that, we enter the eighth round with a 2-point lead. Utsumi's wild throws earned her the usual score of 0 points. By now I felt sorry for the wires of defense. Yuni had gotten the ball in 3 times so far, but regrettably, his shot had glanced off the rim in the 8th round and earned him no points as well. Seeing that, a determined Hattori chose the 3-point line. This makes 19-18, right? With those words, she picked up the ball and tossed it in my direction. Our lead was snatched away at once. Our team was now down a point. Grabbing the ball, we're only one behind, right? So we should go for the 2-point line. Went with the safe choice of the 2PL. I stood at the line and steadied my breathing. Taking aim, I let the shot go. The ball was swallowed into the net. Alright. Unthinking, I clenched my fist victoriously. I turned to Hattori, wanting her to see it. Hattori snorted and looked away. Score 19-20. They brought us into the final round. Itsumi was up. This time for sure. Do it, Carly. Encouraging herself, she headed for the 2PL. Standing in place, she once again spread out her legs as though preparing to lay an egg. Number 33, Itsumi Carly, here I go. Itsumi-san sure is gallant. I unconsciously remarked as I watched her attentively. She probably won't get it in this time either, I thought, but just as I thought that, suddenly, an incredibly skilled shot sent the ball flying through the hoop. It went in. After a moment of silence, Itsumi began to jump for joy. Yes, I did it. Hey, did you see that? Did you see? Wasn't it amazing? Wasn't it? I must be some kind of genius. How scary. I'm scared. Really scared. I'm scared of my own overflowing talent. That's true when they say that the heavens bestow 2 gifts upon you, don't they? Yes. Watching her jump and cheer, I couldn't help but think, does she have any similarity to her husband whatsoever? Score 21-20. Hey, what do we do? What do we do, Satoru? Yuni ran over to me looking upset. Which one should I choose? The 2-pointer or maybe the 3? Let's see. After carefully thinking it over, I gave him my instructions. He needs to do 2PO as well. He's missing most of the 2-point line ones, so... Let's play it safe and go for a 2-pointer. Make sure to get it in there, no matter what. Is that really okay? With a 2-pointer, we'll only have 22 points, even if it goes in, and Hattori will probably reverse it right away. It's okay. If we can get to 22, she'll definitely go for a 3-pointer, because if she doesn't and I get 2 points, that would mean her team loses. To pressure Hattori as much as possible, you need to score 2 points here. Okay, I got it. Yuni nodded obediently and headed to the 2PL. He stood right in place and set up his shot. Yuni, be calm. Take the shot. I'm here with you. Believe in yourself. You can do it if you try. Don't be nervous. Relax. Breathe. Don't let your shoulders tense up. Just shoot, okay? Don't worry about stuff like the direction of the wind. From such a short distance, you can definitely... Satoru? Be quiet. Yuni selected an overhand shot. He might have been nervous, judging from the way he was standing pigeon-toed, but his face was the picture of serious concentration. I can do it if I try. Just you watch. As if to say that. He hid his determination within his face. It was a childlike but incredibly tense expression, like a puppy bravely challenging a ferocious dog. He seemed to radiate an innocent sweetness. I quietly watched over him as he stood there, like a father watching over the growth of his child. I'm counting on you, Yuni. I whispered inside my mind. Perhaps he could hear that wish because Yuni turned back to me just once and nodded before releasing a brilliant shot. As if it were dancing, the ball floated through the air and then fell toward the basket. Go in. I clenched my fist as I silently prayed. The ball hit the rim, jumped upward, drew a narrow N in the air, and flew into the net. Alright! Yuni jumped up and down doing a victory pose. I ran over to Yuni and hugged him, as if he'd scored the deciding point at Koshien. Oh, that was amazing, Yuni! Yuni! Wasn't it amazing? Wasn't it amazing? Wasn't it? Amazing, hardcore amazing. Then, will you do good boy for me? What? Say good boy, and pat my head, okay? Do it. Okay, got it. Good boy. Pat. Now say Yuni-tan, good lad. You're a good lad. Yuni-tan, good lad. You're a good lad. I'm so happy. I'm terribly sorry to interrupt this touching moment, but... Huh? The match isn't over yet, you know. 21 to 22. It's true that we're losing by 1 point, but if I manage to sink a 3-pointer here, we'll regain the lead before you can blink. Isn't it a little too early to celebrate? Well, if you get it, then hurry up and move. You're in my way. Hattori pushed between us and walked to the 3PL. Hattori-chan, concentrate! Yuni and I went back over to the fence, listening to Utsumi's cheers. I leaned against the chain link and trained my eyes on Hattori's motions. After dribbling the ball around the court, she got into her shooting stance. She didn't look the slightest bit tense. A thin smile floated to her lips. Satoru, you remember our agreement, right? Referring to our bet, she called out to me as she focused her sights on the net. You too, I answered without much courtesy. Sorry, but this one's going in. We'll see about that. You think I'll miss? Just hurry up and throw. Hattori bent her knees slightly. She curled the bat, her back like a cat, composed herself and kicked off from the court in a flash. The ball took flight. It soared higher and higher into the air, then began its descent, when suddenly there was a gust of wind. The brown orb shivered in the air. An invisible force was pushing it, but Hattori had calculated for that in advance. Following the trajectory of the ball, the orange hoop was like a large open mouth ready to swallow it. A magnificent bank shot. The ball, which had bounced off the backboard, jumped into the hoop as if sliding. Went in after all. Even though I was going to take it easy on you guys. There's just no hiding true skill, huh? The echoes of her boasting were dispersed by the wind. Geez, that's annoying. But we're fine, Satoru. If you can make the last shot, it's our win. I'm counting on you, Satoru. Alright, leave it to me. 24 to 22, a 2-point difference. Of course, I didn't hesitate for a moment over whether to go for the 2PL and accepted the draw. My goal was to victory. I headed to the 3PL with a ball in hand. There's no way I'll let myself miss. With renewed determination, I got into position. We've got it, Satoru. It'll be an easy win. I heightened my concentration as I assumed my shooting stance. My left arm throbbed in pain. The trembling was transmitted into the ball, making it harder to aim. I readjusted my stance and relaxed my shoulders. Breathing out, I raised the ball for the final time. I waited for the wind to die down. My left hand was barely touching the ball. This one arm alone will decide our victory. It'll go in for sure. Oh man, we're definitely gonna miss, huh? I held the image of the ball being swallowed in my mind. A comfortable tension enfolded me. Plus, if we win, she'll probably murder me, so it's probably best if we miss. I bent my knees ever so slightly. I held my breath. The wind stopped. I couldn't hear a thing. Silence. But at that moment, your left arm, does it hurt? Just as her voice reached me, I released the ball into the air. The brown orb kept rising. It traced the line that I had envisioned, drawing a gradual curve, flying, soaring straight toward the net, as if guided there, as if something were pulling it in, without the tiniest deviation. Right now it was headed toward the center of that hoop. Go in! But it didn't go in. Are you serious? Without touching the hoop, net, or the backboard, the ball dropped to the ground. And so the target I aimed for had in fact shot me down as I watched, and the ball fell straight down, to land directly below the basket, throwing up a spray of white snow as it did. Now I've done it. That discouraged mutter escaped me before I realized. We lost. Yuni squatted down and poked dejectedly at the surface of the snow. I walked over to him and... Sorry. Apologized. It's okay, really. It wasn't your fault, Satoru. If I'd just been a bit better. Yuni, you're a good guy, you know that? We'd lost, but it felt like the bond between Yuni and I had deepened all the more. Wearing the same frowns, we laughed bitterly together. Yuni stuck out his palm. I gripped it firmly and pulled him up. Yuni sprang energetically to his feet, almost hopping. Match result 24-22. With a 2-point difference, Yuni and I suffered defeat. After the match, Hattori came up to me. So this means you have to listen to my request later, okay? Well, not much I can do about it. A promise is a promise, after all. Well then, I'm counting on you. Saying no more, Hattori left the basketball court. Fighting back a yawn, she headed back into the main building, with her hands nonchalantly clasped behind her head. She didn't look all that pleased, because I was expecting a taunt or a sneer. That reaction only bothered me a little. As I watched her go, I removed my watch from my pocket. Present time, 12:32 PM. The sun had just begun to sink into the west. Yuni and I went back down to the storeroom to put away the basketball. Alright, this should be okay. At any rate, I'm pretty tired now. I'm hungry too. Yuni clutched his stomach as he headed back upstairs. I followed after him. However, right at that moment, something glittered in the corner of the room. I stopped and turned my eyes toward the light. What's wrong, Satoru? No, it's nothing. You go on ahead. Yuni seemed a little hesitant, but okay, got it. And with that, he disappeared up the stairs. After I watched him go, I returned my focus to the corner of the storeroom. Something was there, hidden in the shadow cast by a pile of boxes. I moved the boxes and knelt down on the floor. Cheese? The yellow lump couldn't be anything other than cheese. It had been set there on a plate about as big as the palm of my hand. It was a poison. That's why the rat got sick. It was oozing some kind of liquid. A fluid of uniform viscosity, tinged a faint brown, was seeping out of the cheese. At first glance, it looked like diluted tea. I picked up the plate and brought it to my nose. It had that unique smell common to dairy products, but the fluid sprinkled over the cheese had no odour of its own. Looking at it up close, bite marks left by the teeth of a small animal could be seen near the edges. A rat? I couldn't think of any other animal that would freely come and go throughout the storeroom. A rat. That word made me recall the aberrant thing Hattori had done last night. I don't think it was Hattori's personality that done it, but... The rat hadn't been completely dead, so Hattori's body grabbed it by the tail and smashed it against the table with all his strength. It died. She muttered those words, dangling the dead rat like a pendulum from her hand, and with no more care than you'd show to an old rag, she casually tossed the body away. And then her face warped into an expression of boredom. That expression, those words, I couldn't forget them even if I wanted to. The scene from last evening had been engraved into my mind, every last detail of it. As I held the plate in both hands, I thought about something. Yesterday, the rat was at death's door before I even stepped into the kitchen, its limbs convulsing, its eyes hollow, its mouth flapping as it desperately struggled to breathe. The anguish it underwent gave the impression that it had been poisoned. In other words, it seemed that Hattori's body, some time before dealing the finishing blow, had given the rat something harmful. And now, in my hands, I held a piece of cheese saturated in some unknown liquid. One of its corners bore a clear bite marks from the jaws of a small animal. I didn't even have to think about the rest. No. Poison cheese. Alright, we need to wrap this one up here, because we're out of time for today. But poison rat, maybe that's why he doesn't want to eat the food here. He thinks maybe poisoning the rat was just a test to see how effective it was before they poisoned a human. Us. Who knows? Anyway, I guess we'll see you next time. Thanks for watching, Bruce. I'll see you in the next one.